So the Marlins are playing the Padres, and there are a lot of bad calls this game, so let's go through this. First inning, pitch right on the edge. Can't really tell if that's a ball or a strike, but MLB.com has this as a ball. But home plate umpire Doug Eddings calls this a strike, so that's one call for the Padres. And let's keep track of which team is getting more calls here. Top of the second, pitch to Profar. That's pretty clearly a ball, but apparently it's not. Now, Profar doesn't really argue this call. He's pretty tame. Keep moving. Now, third inning to Kim. This pitch is like half a ball off the plate. But look at what the catcher does here. This is where his glove is when he first catches the ball, but this is where his glove ends up. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're going to see a lot of terrible calls this game. And some of these are just inexcusable calls, but also you'll see calls like this where I think it's a result of just good framing. But yeah, that kind of spoils things, but this is called a strike, and Kim is just depressed. Bottom four, pitch off the plate, called a strike. Later on in the same inning, Weathers throws a pitch in the zone, and he doesn't get this call, but let's be real. No pitcher ever gets this call in the MLB. Anytime a catcher that sets up low and away and ends up catching the ball up and in, even though it's in the zone, the umpire will never give this call just because it doesn't look like a strike. So yes, this is a bad call, but I don't see most umpires giving this call anyways. Top five, Pham's at the plate, and this is an example of a pitch that just is inexcusable to be called a strike. The glove is nowhere near the plate. The catcher isn't even trying to frame this pitch, but it's called a strike. Now, top of the sixth inning, this is where things get real bad. Tatis gets called out on strikes on this pitch that, honestly, it's a pretty good frame job. Catcher follows the movement of the ball with his glove, and yeah, Tatis is not happy. No. Later on in the inning, Myers gets a pitch below the knees, called a strike. Myers tries to figure out which part of the bat he can use to hit that pitch. And then the very next pitch, he gets a pitch just barely off the zone, but catcher frames it, again, called strike. And now Myers is contemplating why he's even playing this sport anymore. Now listen to what the home plate umpire has to say to Jace, who's talking trash from the dugout.
Horrible. Those are off. You can tell from there. You got one warning, no more, Trace.
Pham has the funniest face trying to figure out the T between Trace and the umpire, and then he just goes back into hiding. But yeah, who doesn't love Trace Tingler? Now that's two straight bad calls, and I kid you not, on the very next pitch, so back-to-back pitches, this might be the worst call of the game. Not even frameable, not even trying to be framed. Catcher's glove is all over the place, not in the zone, but it's called a strike. And Myers doesn't argue. Calm guy. Jace, on the other hand, takes a step, wondering if he should go start a fight, and decides against it. Next inning, Profar gets a pitch that's like 3 balls off the plate. Call a strike, and Profar doesn't really do anything except he takes a step out and just tries to delay the game as long as he can. No verbal response, but his actions are saying a lot here. Later on in the inning, Kim's back up at the plate. He takes a strike on the corner, and I think this is legitimately on the corner, but after all these bad calls, Kim is just sussed out. Then he gets a ball that the catcher tries to frame. Umpire doesn't fall for it this time. Kim nods in agreement. But with 2 strikes, Kim strikes out on this pitch that isn't really close. When this pitch is crossing the plate, it's basically at Kim's shoulders, which is not a strike. Jace comes out and argues. Kim's like, "You've screwed me up 2 times," but nothing happens. No one gets ejected. They've worked things out. Now, the bottom half of this inning, there are a couple strikes that aren't called strikes, but honestly, Nola does a terrible job framing this, so that's more on Nola than on the umpire. Fast forward to the 8th. Pham gets a pitch, and this, according to MLB.com, is supposed to be a strike, but it's called a ball. So he gets a call here. But then he gets rung up on a pitch that isn't very close to the zone. To be fair though, this pitch did start in the zone, so it was a strike up until the very end. Pham does his little tough guy act, and when he's in the dugout, the umpire does the most nonchalant tossing I've ever seen. Just the flick of the wrist, you know. But we still got one more bad call to go. Bottom half of the inning, Pagan does not get this call. Umpire jaws with Skip Schumacher, but also the broadcasters at the same time, unintentionally.
It's inside.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hit
Inside corner.
Skip.
Yeah, stick it to him. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
You're done.
Skip points out every single bad call that the umpire got wrong, and the Padres end up losing this one, but they also lose the umpire game as well, I guess.